In this video, I'm going to show you two emails written for the same TOEFL email task. Same prompt, similar English. Which one do you think scored higher on the official ETS mock test? Email A or B? Take a moment, look at them, and choose one in your head. These two are slightly anonymized versions of my own answers from ETS paid practice tests. One of them behaved like a 4 and the other behaved like a 5. The structure and sentence patterns are the same as the ones that got those scores. I'm Lee. I've been teaching TOEFL for the past 8 years, and I took the new TOEFL a couple of days ago and have run many paid ETS mock tests with my students. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what the AI seems to reward in the 5-point version that the 4-point version doesn't do, even though to a human, they look almost the same. So here's a sample prompt on the screen. You recently started using a co-working space and have experienced problems with a Wi-Fi connection. Write an email to the manager of the co-working space, and in your email, describe the Wi-Fi issues, explain how they affect your daily work, request a repair, and ask for a timeline. Okay. Now pause for a moment and look at these two emails again. Which one do you want to write in the test? I think it's quite obvious. You want to write the 5-point email, and they don't vary a lot in terms of the word count. One is slightly above 100, another is slightly above 110. In the official ETS sample, there's only one in one of the practice plans. The 5-point sample for this task type is also somewhere around 110 and 120 words. But this is important. In the official instruction manual, there's no mention of word count. Okay. The rubrics talk about number of sentences, syntactic variety, and discourse cohesion, and so on. And I have 4-point samples that are actually longer with more sentences and more complicated grammar than this short 5-point email. So the engine is not simply more words equals higher score or more sentences equals higher score. What I did was I took the official 5-point sample. I studied its structure against all the AI testable items mentioned in the instruction manual. Then I rewrote my own long 5-point answers into short 5-point versions by copying the golden samples sentence patterns, but not the exact words. So in this video, I'm not telling you you must write more than 100 words or things like that. Instead, I'll show you what kinds of sentences the 5-point email uses and how you can satisfy the grading criteria without writing more than you need. You might want to write just enough words so that you have time to check your grammar, which is also another big part of the grading criteria. Now let's see what actually changes between the 4 and the 5. So first, how the problem is written. In the 4-point email, the problem is written like this. The internet connection, which many members rely for their daily work, has been disabled, and several times the network disconnected unexpectedly. The sentence is grammatical. Humans can follow it. It seems beautifully complicated. But structurally, it changed multiple subordinate clauses into one long sentence. From a discourse point of view, in the eyes of the AI algorithm, the information is a little bit too compressed. For humans, this still feels coherent, but for AI, this makes the internal structures less visible, not clearer. So in the 5-point email, the problem is simply written like this. When I connect to the network in the morning, the internet sometimes becomes extremely slow. Again, here there is one clear subordinate clause and one clear main clause. This is a complex sentence. The information is separated instead of chained. Okay. That makes the problem easier for the AI to identify as a discrete unit, when it happens and what actually happens. And effect. Okay. If you're taking the new TOEFL 2026 and want extra practice, timing, and scoring guides and updates as we collect more real results, there's a link below this video. Fill out the short form and I'll send them to you. Now look at how the effect on daily work is written. In the 4-point email, the writer says, I can't send electronic files to my clients timely, which is very frustrating and stressful for me. This sentence includes emotional language. Emotional language is natural, it is allowed. However, an emotional language is usually AI neutral elaboration. It doesn't add new task relevant information about what work cannot be done or how wide the impact of the internet issue is. In the 5-point example, the effect is written like this. As a result, my work as a software engineer has been significantly affected, and many others have also expressed similar concerns, similar complaints. This sentence focuses on tasks and scopes, not feeling, and that makes the effect easier for the AI to verify whose work is affected and how many people are affected. Now let's look at the request. In the 4-point email, the request says, to help everyone do their work well, would it be possible to improve the Wi-Fi infrastructure? This sentence does satisfy the request a repair part, but from the instruction manual's grading criteria, there are two issues. To help everyone do their work well is a little bit vague and not directly tied to the goal of fixing the internet. It doesn't help persuade the reader to fix the internet that well. Okay. So it's harder for the AI to judge that this sentence is strongly contributing to the task. And plus, the action is not very specific. Improve the Wi-Fi infrastructure is pretty broad. It doesn't really say what you actually want them to do. Okay. Then it says, please send someone to check this issue as soon as possible, ASAP tomorrow. This is a direct command, not an indirect request. In the instruction manual, part of the grading criteria mention social conventions. They prefer polite, indirect requests with modal verbs most of the time. Modal verbs are, things like would, could. They prefer this kind of indirect requests over imperatives like please send someone to do something. Okay. In the 5-point email, the request says, would it be possible for you to arrange for a technician to check the system in the next few days? Here, another thing is that the action is very specific. This is also required by the grading criteria. Clarity. So arrange for a technician to check the system is more clear than just simply improve the Wi-Fi infrastructure, right? And the time is clear, in the next few days. The wording is also an indirect request with would. Then it says, it would also be great if you could let me know when this issue might be resolved so that everyone can send files easily. Here, the purpose is tied directly to the internet problem. It is not something as vague as for everyone to do their job well. Right? It is so that everyone can send files easily. That makes the discourse coherence, the discourse cohesion, again, clearer for the AI. The request, the purpose, the Wi-Fi issue are all explicitly linked. To a human reader, these requests may feel very similar, right? In my tests with the scoring engine, these differences clearly mattered. The ETS grading criteria also mentions syntactic variety and coherent progression of ideas. What I found after testing many 4-point and 5-point answers is that you do not need a huge number of sentences or very long chains. For this type of email, a simple pattern is enough. For a problem and an effect, use one simple sentence and one complex sentence for example, with a fronted subordinate clause. For example, when I connect to the network in the morning, the internet sometimes becomes extremely slow. In some ATS samples, they add one more main clause to make a complex compound sentence. Okay. And in my 5-point sample, you can see instead of making the complex sentence complex compound, I make the next sentence a compound sentence. As a result, my work as a software engineer has been significantly affected, and many others have also expressed similar concerns. But really, you don't need more than that. Lastly, for the requests, you don't need complicated grammar. You need one or two clear sentences that are specific about the action and indirect and polite. And if you add a purpose, it has to be directly connected to the problem. Here is a simplified rule set for what I recommend for the TOEFL email task. First, your content must clearly cover all parts of the prompt, all three bullet points. Look at the bullet points in the task and make sure each one is answered clearly in your email. Second, don't chase a magic word count. The rubrics do not require a specific number of words. What matters more is that your answers follow the sentence patterns so that you reach syntactic variety and discourse cohesion and, of course, grammatical accuracy of the short 5-point sample, which is a faithful adaptation of the original ETS 5-point sample. If you follow that pattern, you will naturally end up somewhere around 110 to 120 words, and that is already enough. You also need to save time to check your grammar. Third, for parts of the prompt that describe a situation or effect, for example, problem and how it affects you, use a small set of sentence types. In my 5-point example for the problem, I use one simple sentence and one complex sentence with a fronted subordinate conjunction. For the effect, I use a compound sentence. This already shows syntactic variety. You do not need long chains of subordinate clauses in one sentence. Fourth, make your request or action specific, polite, and clearly tied to the prompt. Use indirect requests with would or could instead of direct commands. Would it be possible for you to arrange for a technician to check the system? It would be great if you could let me know when this issue might be resolved so that everyone can send files easily. Fifth, a simple opening sentence like I hope you're well and a simple closing sentence like thank you in advance for your help are enough. You don't get extra points for very long greetings. All right, so the TOEFL email task is not about writing a good email in human eyes. It's about writing an email where task completion is easy for the AI to verify and where your sentences follow the same structural logic as the official 5-point sample. Once you understand that, this task becomes predictable.